Hey guys, welcome back to the Aesthetic Sketchbook series. So today I'm starting sketchbook number 5 and I'm quite excited to start on the new page. So for this piece, we're going to be painting red tulips on a rainy day sitting on the car dashboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the tulip buds first, and then I'm going to add the leaves in between the tulips and then the paper to wrap the bouquet of tulips in. I wanted something brighter for the tulips to contrast against the dark, gloomier, rainy background. For the tulip buds in the back, I'm going to paint them in a darker shade of red, which will be mixing purple red and also Prussian blue. I'm trying to practice my shading work as well, because I think if you master light and shadows, it can add so much life to the paintings. Hence, for these tulips that are supposedly where the sunlight is hitting upon, I'm going to paint it in a brighter shade of red, which would be vermilion, scarlet, and for the darker shade I'll be using purple red, and in the middle for the petal would be Prussian blue. Throughout this painting, I'm using a size 00 brush. I feel that it's much easier to tackle the blending and the application of paint when I view it as if I'm holding a colored pencil. I'm just coloring it in. Right now I'm just painting all the tulip buds that I've drawn, and I'm being mindful of the tulip buds that are tucked in between the leaves, and I'll paint them in a darker shade of red. Okay, so for the leaves, I'm starting from behind, and I'm going to be using Metis green and Prussian blue for the darkest shade. For the tip of the leaves that are jutting out from the bouquet, I'm using olive green and green mead for the lighter shade. I'm trying not to leave any blank spaces in between the leaves and the tulips so that the bouquet of flowers looks full. But for any small blank spaces in between, you can add the tulip stems using Metis green and Prussian blue. So for refresher, the tips of the leaf facing the sunlight, use olive green and green mead, and right now on the back of the bouquet, I'm just using Metis green and Prussian blue for the darker leaves. Because it's actually difficult to paint white on white, so for this for the paper wrap, I'm actually using pale grey mixed with titanium white and a little bit of ivory white. To add contrast and to bring out the whiteness of the grey pale, I'm going to be adding another second layer of paper wrap on the inner part of the bouquet using a bit of Payne's grey mixed with coal grey. I'm going to extend this part all the way to the bottom of the bouquet of flowers, and just carefully painting in between all the nooks and crannies. And in between these leaves and buds, I'm going to add another layer of shading by adding Payne's grey. Already you can see that there's more depth to the bouquet. So this applies to the wrap on top of the bouquet as well. In between the layers, I add a thin line of Payne's grey, and then I use coal grey to blend in with the pale grey and ivory white mixed with titanium white. Okay, so now we're going to be working on the rainy background. On the top half, I'm using Payne's grey, and on the bottom, I'm using olive green. When trying to get the frosted window effect, we always have to mix it with titanium white or a bit of pale grey. So as you can see, once I've painted the first layer, I'm going again over with a brush while the paint is still wet with a thin layer of titanium white, and I'm just kind of making this up and down motions with it. Now the car dashboard, this is probably the easiest part. I'm just painting this whole part here in coal grey, and then I leave this blank space here for the shadows, which I'm going to be painting with Payne's grey. And then I'm going to blend the part of the shadows and the dashboard together by mixing the two colors together so it becomes more seamless. So now just a bit of final touches so it doesn't look so monotonous. I'm going to add a bit of pale grey as shading and just move the brush in slight back and forth motions. And then I'm going to add this masked black line to separate the dashboard from the window. I find the angular brush best for drawing straight lines on a painting. So this part here, I simplified it a lot. It was supposed to be like the air conditioner or the CD player, but I've just decided to paint it in masked black. Well, I think it's okay because black goes really well with red and kind of makes the red pop more. So for the final part, we're going to draw the rain just streaming down the windows. So what I'm going to do is, for the grey part, just use paint grey, and for the olive green part, just use olive green. Because of the frosted window effect that we've done earlier, so now it will look like the rain just streaming down from the windows. You could add a little bit drops of like titanium white in the background, but I've decided to skip that because I want to keep it a bit simple, and I think it's finished. So I'm just going to peel off the tape here, and I hope you enjoyed this simple tutorial and you like this painting, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.